President Bush calls on Congress to follow his lead.
This is a chance for Congress to indicate support
as he prepares to go all out against Iraq. The big storm called Isidore picks up steam, and people along the Gulf Coast prepare for what could be coming their way. And a victory in the war on drugs.
This is huge.
A bust, not on the street corner, but in cyberspace. Hello, everyone. I'm Stan Turner, and thank you very much for joining us. The White House is pressing Congress to act fast in giving President Bush sweeping authority to go after Iraq. The president and top aides pressed their case on several fronts today, including Capitol Hill. All News Channel's senior national correspondent Barton Eckert has the details.
At the White House, Barton Eckert, All News Channel.
A new survey shows President Bush is doing a better job at selling his plan to deal with Iraq. The latest poll shows 52% of those surveyed think the president has done a good job of explaining why he wants to take action. That's up 15% from last month. The Pew Research survey also found the president's job approval rating is heading back up. 67% of Americans currently approve of the job he's doing. That's up from 60% just a few weeks ago. The researchers believe the September 11th anniversary helped boost Mr. Bush's numbers. Well, talk of war with Iraq has stirred up world oil markets, with prices going up and down under heavy trading today. A barrel of crude ended this day 2 cents up, but it was a very down day on Wall Street. The Dow dipped below 8,000 for the first time in more than a month. The indexes were dragged down by bad economic indicators, especially larger than expected drops in housing construction. The Dow dropped 230 points today, or nearly 3%, closing at 79.42. The Nasdaq lost more than 35 points, or 2.5%, ending at 12.16. With more information coming out about pre-9/11 warnings, two senators say an independent commission is needed to make sure it doesn't happen again. A joint congressional committee has been hearing that the government received information that Osama bin Laden was poised to strike and that terrorists might use planes as weapons. Intelligence reports did not offer specifics on where and when those attacks might come. Well, today, an administration official told the committee we should not be looking solely at past attacks, but at possible future ones as well. Senators Joseph Lieberman and John McCain are calling for an independent commission to investigate the attacks. The Bush administration opposes a special commission, saying that information leaks would be more likely. Israeli tanks have encircled Palestinian leader Yasser Arafat's compound after back-to-back suicide bombings. 5 people were killed and dozens hurt after a bomber blew up a bus in Tel Aviv today. It comes a day after a bombing and other attacks killed 3 Israelis. Israeli officials blame the attacks on the Palestinian Authority. They hope to isolate Arafat at his headquarters. Weather experts watching Hurricane Isidore say this could be a big one, and that is our top weather story. The hurricane brushed the southeast edge of Cuba and is headed straight for the Gulf Coast of the U.S. Meteorologists warn that conditions are right in the Gulf for this to turn into a major hurricane. Those conditions include warm water and high pressure over Florida. Meteorologists say it's still too soon to tell just where the storm will hit land and when, but weather watchers in Florida's Emergency Operations Center are worried it could turn their way. They say Isidore could be the strongest storm of the season, and their best advice for Floridians right now, be ready for anything.
Everyone in Florida who lives along the Gulf Coast, from the Keys all the way to Pensacola, needs to prepare and stay aware.
Experts predict Hurricane Isidore's winds will reach as high as 110 miles per hour. Vermont's apple crop may not be a choice pick this year. The crop's down about 15% because of an unexpected warm spell this spring. That meant the trees started to blossom prematurely.
And that caused them to have to endure another 2 or 3 extra weeks of possible frost damage.
Despite fewer apples, growers say the ones that survived are actually pretty good, although some are a bit smaller than usual. Experts don't believe the smaller harvest will affect the price that consumers pay for apples, but it will cause some fallout for wholesalers who make such products as apple cider. An ancient crab is getting plenty of attention as it makes its movie debut. Using the Hubble telescope and the Chandra X-ray Observatory, NASA has put together a movie of the space wonder known as the Crab Pulsar. Here's what the cosmic generator looks like from the two sources. The crab is one of the most watched objects in the sky. Astronomers hope it will help them understand how other objects work. The West Nile virus, researchers say it's not just mosquitoes spreading it. And a new warning about a popular painkiller. We'll tell you about the dangers of too much Tylenol. It's apparently not just mosquitoes that spread the West Nile virus. The Centers for Disease Control now believes the virus can be spread through blood transfusions. Researchers say that in at least 1 of 7 cases they studied, West Nile was transferred from donated blood. Before, it was thought the virus was only spread through mosquitoes. As soon as a test can be developed, officials hope to test all blood donations for West Nile virus. No word on how long that might take. An experimental treatment is helping some patients who are seriously ill with melanoma or skin cancer. A National Cancer Institute researcher says that his team has learned how to grow large numbers of a patient's own cancer-killing cells enough to overwhelm the tumors. The technique has been used only against melanoma, but the researcher says it may work against other types of cancer. It is still highly experimental, they say. A warning today from the Food and Drug Administration about a common over-the-counter painkiller. Americans may be taking toxic doses of acetaminophen and not know it, and that could put them at risk of serious liver damage. Acetaminophen is best known by the Tylenol brand, but it's found in nearly 200 generic and branded products. The FDA is discussing how to help consumers use the drug safely. The makers of Tylenol say it's one of the safest over-the-counter painkillers on the market. Important information for owners of recordable DVD players. And the Federal Trade Commission goes after a big-name mortgage company. Here's Mike Johnson with Consumer News.
I'm Mike Johnson reporting.
The long arm of the law has reached deep into cyberspace and grabbed a date rape drug trafficking ring. Federal drug officials say the ring sold the date rape drug GHB through internet websites. The drug was disguised as cosmetics or cleaning solutions, and it was shipped by mail around the world.
This is huge. This is a huge investigation. Well, it lasted approximately 2 years. And basically, this should send a clear message to those who are contemplating ordering drugs through the mail that you're ultimately going to pay the price, and that price is going to be your freedom.
So far, the bust involves more than 100 arrests in 84 cities in the U.S. and Canada. In Massachusetts, a judge gives the okay to a settlement between the Boston Archdiocese and 86 alleged victims of priest abuse. The plaintiffs claim that John Gagan molested them when they were children. The alleged victims would split $10 million under the arrangement in exchange for dropping their lawsuits. A larger settlement was reached 6 months ago, but the Archdiocese backed out. It's the latest workout trend. It's called BOSU. And if you've heard about it, then there's one thing everybody you know is saying.
It was hard to keep a balance.
So you're struggling to stay on the ball, and trying to keep your balance is a big part of the class.
Why this workout's filling classes, coming up in Smarter Living. Recapping the hour's top stories, President Bush has asked Congress to approve a resolution giving him the authority to use force against Iraq if necessary. Iraq's foreign minister told the UN today that his country has no nuclear, biological, or chemical weapons. President Bush called it the same old song and dance. And health officials now confirm that West Nile virus can be spread through blood transfusions. They are working on a test to screen blood donations. Have you heard of BOSU? It's really a big hit in fitness centers. It promises a workout like you have never had before. Lisa Black has the basics of BOSU in today's Smarter Living.
That's today's Smarter Living, and I'm Lisa Black.
Male actors, models, and news anchors are not the only men who depend on cosmetics. Now, men from all walks of life are bellying up to the cosmetic bar. That's tomorrow in Smarter Living. When the girls get together, it can be a wild time, but for the Banger Sisters, the get-together is more of a reunion, and their wild days are behind them. Or are they? Coming up, we look behind the scenes at two girls, formerly best friends, whose lives have taken dramatically different turns. Well, it may have been a banner night for Alejandro Sanz, but the Latin Grammys were a ratings flop. Only 4.2 million viewers tuned in to watch Latin music's big night. That's a far cry from the 7.5 million who watched last year's awards. Sanz was the big winner, walking away with awards for the Best Album, Song, and Record of the Year. First Lady Laura Bush spent the morning chatting with a monster and a huge bird. Well, she was taping a segment of Sesame Street. She read a book called Wubba Wubba Woo to Elmo Big Bird and 3 youngsters. The book was created especially for the segment that Mrs. Bush taped this morning. The new film, The Banger Sisters, is not so much a movie about sisters as it is about long-lost friends and mothers and daughters. Colleen Burns takes a look behind the scenes.
That's a look behind the scenes. I'm Colleen Burns, All News Channel.
Thank you, Colleen. That's the news for this half hour. I'm Stan Turner. Thank you for joining us. Across America in 30 minutes, this is All News Channel.